On this episode, we talk about your real estate agent sending you a bunch of houses to see that are not on your list. We talk about 2 buyers for 1 house. And then what do you do when you got a really expensive listing and really average furniture? What's up, guys? It's your friend Chris Donaldson here, and welcome back to another episode of the Ask Donaldson Show. This is your 360 real estate experience where we answer your questions, real estate related, from I don't know anything about real estate to I'm an expert on real estate and everything in between. Our goal here is to serve you. And so whether you're prepared for the test or prepared for your career, the Ask Donaldson Show is for you. So, in case you haven't watched the show before, or if you have a question that you already are burning up that you want to get to us, we will drop at the end, and we'll also put it into the comments on how you can do that. But without further ado, I've got my boys here. I've got Danny and I've got Art, and they've got your questions. So part of what we're doing here is I see a stack of questions there, because we go from new medium to old medium in paper, and I'm just going to answer as many per show as I possibly can. This is my gift to you. If you want to know about real estate, that's what we're here to do. So my man, Danny, let's get the first question.
I had a client that I prepared a list of homes for him to see, and one of those homes did not fit his need or interest. I still sent him the listing. Also, which care to the client did I not provide, loyalty or disclosure?
Okay. All right. And what was the name of the person asked?
Michelle White.
Michelle. Thank you for the question, Michelle. And actually, this is a really good one if you are in the real estate business. So if you're a real estate licensee watching this, but also if you're a consumer or a client, I like this question because we can deal with it on both ends. So basically, this is, you are a real estate agent. Your client has said, these are my parameters. This is the kind of house I want to see. And then you sent them a list, or did they actually show a house?
It just says a list.
Okay, so they sent a list, and there's things on that list that don't meet the criteria of the buyer. So here's the deal about being an expert. Okay, we talk about this all the time. Number one, if I am your real estate agent, okay, if you guys hire me to help you buy a house, my job is to get you what you want. So I'm going to do everything possible to make that happen. But also, as an expert, my job is to prevent wasting your time. And so one of the ways that I'm going to do that is to make sure that I know what you're looking for and try as best I can to eliminate properties that don't meet what you want. I mean, let's be real simple. The upstairs, downstairs master suite thing. When I first started showing houses, I realized that was a thing. I had never even thought about it. That there are certain people that will not buy a house because the master bedroom is upstairs. There's some people that don't want the master bedroom downstairs. So just that as an eliminating factor. The question really here would be, if you told me you do not want to buy a house with the master upstairs, and I send you a list of houses to show, to see, to consider, and some of them have the master upstairs. First of all, what I would say is you're not trying hard enough. As the real estate agent, you're not looking through the information, you're not cutting it out, and you're not helping your own buyer shop with a rifle. You're more just sending them everything. And it looks to me, so if I was the client, I'd go, well, is my agent even looking? Are they listening? Do they care? So one of the things I want you guys that are saying on both sides, real estate agents and consumers, that our job is to work together. And my job is to make sure that neither of us waste our time. So if you know you're never going to buy a house with an upstairs master, well, then why would I put them on a list to show? Why would I set an appointment? Why would we go out there? And why would we look at it? Because you're never going to buy it. That doesn't do either of us any good, right? So maybe we'll save that for the pile. If you find nothing with a downstairs, we'll discuss it in advance. The second part of that question, I think, for you guys that are preparing for the real estate exam or really want to know, was the loyalty or disclosure part.
Yeah.
So I think if you're preparing for your real estate exam, the question there is, what duty of me to the agent, to the client, did I possibly breach there? Now you try to put me in the mind of a test writer. Who knows what state they came? Do we know what state they came from?
I mean, based on Michelle's email, New Orleans.
Okay.
Right here in New Orleans.
Well, I would tell you a couple things. Number one, you definitely are violating care. So I don't know why she decided it was loyalty or disclosure, but I would say care or due diligence. Because if Danny says, I don't want a house with an upstairs master, and I keep sending him houses to see that have an upstairs master, Danny, just out of curiosity, slide over here. What would you be thinking?
Are you even listening?
Would that bother you?
Yeah. I mean, it would probably get to me like, man, come on, how much attention to detail?
All right, give me a non-negotiable. Like if you were going to buy a house right now, just you personally, a non-negotiable. Like I'm never buying a house with this feature or that doesn't have this.
I want a house with a yard. I don't want a townhouse.
Okay, no townhouse, got to have a yard.
Yeah.
So if I start funneling you townhouses without a yard,
Yeah.
Am I doing my job?
No, and you probably won't be doing your job for me much longer.
You'd fire me?
Yeah.
Good. You should,
You're
right?
not doing the job.
Exactly. Thanks, Danny. So that happens all the time. But I want you guys to understand as real estate agents, that is my responsibility to help Danny accomplish his goals. So it does look a little careless if you're not trying to cut things out. And it does look like I'm not as loyal, which means I'm trying to uphold my client's wishes above my own. So in any event, I could talk about working with buyers all day long, but in the near term, one of the best things you can do for your buyer is help cut out the fat, if you will, because it's easy to go online on like realtor.com and send to your real estate agent, I want to see every house in this zip code. My job is to go, well, hold on. You may not want to see all these houses. Let's talk about your parameters and let me do my job to help you shop with a rifle as opposed to a shotgun. So I love that question. And so hopefully, Michelle, that you find that helpful. Yeah, bring on the next one.
All right. So the next one is a seller is selling a home and there's two people interested and they receive the same offer and both buyers accept the offer. Now the seller then counters the offer and returns the offer within the time allowed. However, both buyers accept the counter offer.
All right.
What does the seller have to do?
That is an in the weeds, really structural question. All right. In order to answer this, I'm going to need to use our flashcards here as the house. And can you guys toss me two different color pen or just anything at all that I can use as buyer one and buyer two? You got a highlighter? Give me that. Batteries. Okay, we're going to use batteries. This seems dangerous. Kids, don't do this at home. Okay, so the foundation of the question is simple. Here's the seller with the seller's house. Here's buyer one, and here's buyer two. You're not supposed to like lick these, right? That's what gets dangerous. Kids, don't lick these at home. Okay, did y'all ever do that when you were kids? No. That explains a lot about me then probably, because yeah, I had to understand what happens when you lick a battery. You get a little charge.
Why would you want to lick a battery?
Maybe I did it before the show. I don't know. I think kids did it on the playground. Anyway, okay, so you got buyer one and buyer two. Now, structurally, what we're talking about here is under contract law, how does this work? Okay. Well, again, when people are asking questions, sometimes I wonder where they're getting the question, if they typed it completely, if they made it up themselves. So let's talk simply. All right. In most states, except for Louisiana, our home state, but in most states, basically what happens is the way that this transaction would start is not the seller making an offer to the buyers. Buyer one, so this battery over here, would make an offer. And then before the seller has made a decision, buyer two, this battery, would make an offer. And what this question supposes is that the seller countered back to both buyers, and they both accepted. Okay? Well, essentially, once the first one is accepted, the second one can't be accepted because time is of the essence. So basically, what that means is at any time when you're negotiating real estate, which is part of the fun for me as an agent, it's that there's pressure. If I'm on this side, we're putting pressure on the buyers. You hear things like, bring your best and final, bring your best and final. The reason is because if this person accepts at the higher number faster, this person loses. If this person accepts at the higher faster, this person loses. But what can't happen, y'all, is that you can sell to two buyers at the same time. And I think this is where there's a lot of confusion. Most states have very definitive laws. You can't sell one house to two buyers at the same time. Okay? So what we've got here in this situation is time is of the essence. Now, there are some states like Louisiana. Now, we're getting really technical here. Again, here's my episode warning. I'm not a lawyer. This isn't legal advice. We're just talking conceptual here, right? Okay, so in Louisiana, we do what are called irrevocable offers. What that means is if I counter as the seller to two buyers, then I'm putting a time frame to acceptance. Let's say today at 8 p.m. If they both accept by 8 p.m., we've screwed up. Because now you've got two buyers that have accepted a legal offer that had a time frame by 8 p.m. In Louisiana, this would be called a serious legal problem. So first of all, here's an exam hint. All right, let's cut this out. This is an exam hint for everybody, okay? You need to know if you're on the principles and practices portion of the test, or if you're on your state-specific portion of the test. In most states, there's the national, and then there's the Louisiana state portion, the Mississippi state portion, the Alabama state portion, and your laws, your contracts, requirements, etc., might be different. So make sure you know if you're on national or state. I can't answer all 50 states at once, but generally held contractual principles are true. So if it's an irrevocable offer like we typically do in Louisiana, this has happened, by the way, that means the agent likely messed up. So if I'm the agent, I cannot write two counters that can legally both be accepted. I've got to write them with language that essentially states they're revocable prior to acceptance or first one accepted wins, and however the legal language there would go. So this is why a real estate agent is very powerful and important. See, when you hired me in my days of listing houses and all of those things, you didn't hire me to tell you how pretty the bathroom was, right? I couldn't tell you things about the interior design. That wasn't my strength. You wanted me for this part because my knowledge of negotiation, of the transaction, of numbers, of timelines, and handling it at all so that the impact to Danny is, so Danny, guess what? Got two buyers, they seem really interested. Here's what we can do, right? We could send back this one, we could send back this one, we can write the language. How do you feel about that? And Danny goes, okay, let's do that. And it's my job to execute this in a way that keeps Danny from accidentally selling his house to two buyers at the same time. So that's a really functional question. And anybody here that watched all of that, first of all, let us know in the comments. And secondly, I bet you're preparing for your real estate exam because that's an exam forward question right there. Okay. All right, let's get on to the third question. So for you guys that don't watch the show or are new to the show, let me just explain. We always want to answer functional questions about real estate, help you prepare for your exam, your career, understand how real estate works. But then we always want to get one question at the end that's talking about current licensees, marketing, business plans, sales. So get out of the just functional part and talk more about the business building part. So what you got?
Your third question comes from your Instagram.
Shout out to Instagram.
There you go. Client owns a home worth $1 million plus and wants to list it, but has cheap furniture. Should I be honest or nice?
And who asked that one? I remember that one.
That was Meatball.
Shout out to Meatball. Shout out to Meatball. Okay. Um, so basically, the question is he's got a really expensive listing, and his client's got really cheap furniture. And he's curious, basically, if he should tell his seller, this cheap furniture is preventing me from being able to sell your house, or it's hurting our cause. Okay. So this is my take on it. And I'd love to hear anybody that's got a different take in the comments. Let me know. But this is what I think. Okay. What we teach and what I train and what I believe in is always authenticity, honesty, and expertise. But there's a relationship between those things swimming around, right? So number one, you don't want to be so honest and upfront that you're insulting your clients, your customers, or even hurting people's feelings. But they did hire you as an expert. And by building the relationship with my client, what I should be able to do is have a conversation with them about the importance of the appearance, especially because we have especially houses like yours in this price range. So let me break this down into different pieces of advice. Piece of advice number one, okay? Piece of advice number one, they hired you as an expert. Show them your expertise, even if they're not going to like the info. Okay? So number one, if I'm the expert, my job is to help you understand in this price range, my market data, my transactional knowledge, this is what you need to know. Whether it's furniture, right? Or it's their 13 cats and their cat hutches everywhere, right? Like, it's tough to have a conversation with pet owners because you love your pets, but everybody doesn't. And it could be the reason you're not selling your house. So just another example, right? So number one, always make sure that you're displaying your expertise. Number two, be honest and straightforward by building a relationship from the beginning that states you will, right? So for instance, if I'm looking at the furniture, I'm looking at it, I would let them know, start asking questions like, are you taking this furniture with you? Like, in other words, rather than just coming straight forward, start asking questions. And they say no. Really? So what's your plan with the furniture? Whenever we buy our next house, we were just going to sell this on eBay. Let's do it now. We just solved the problem. And then I'll explain we should stage this property, right? Since you're selling the furniture anyway, let's sell that, let's stage it, and let's hold an open house, and let's people see what this house should look like. Sometimes, without even knowing, we might not even have a problem. That's putting the objection before the solution. We assume they're going to be offended, but let's do the opposite. Say, what's your plan with the furniture? And they go, oh, well, we love that furniture. We're bringing it with us. Okay, how long have y'all had it? Oh, well, it's family furniture. We love it. Okay, great. All right, I got it. So then you want to always have, as a listing agent, a prepared list of stuff that you want, especially with houses in this price range. So the more specific I can get, the better. For instance, it might be the same list. Here's the selling checklist. When I put your house on the market, you want to do this and this and this and this and this and this and this, right? But I might come in and have on the top of the page, price range, special list, even if it's the same list, and show that and be able to explain, now let's talk furniture, let's talk clutter, let's talk, and let them know that in the pictures or in the viewings or based on feedback, right? Soften the blow and let them know that, okay, this seems to be something that people are noticing. In other words, I had an open house on Tuesday and everybody said, this house is great, but that furniture, it's hard to look at. So maybe I want to sit down with my client and explain that seems to be common feedback. It's not fair. It doesn't matter, but here's our solutions on what we can do about your furniture, A, B, and C. In other words, know your client, build that relationship of trust, and be able to have the conversation with them in a way that's not offensive. Now, you'll have some agents that'll just roll in and they'll say, got to get rid of this stuff. Well, if it's somebody that can take it, great. But somebody might start crying. I mean, people are weirdly attached to stuff. They might get offended, right? They may not understand. So I think that going all the way back to the beginning, never be afraid to show your expertise, so you better be right. Because the other side is, what if you're trying to blame the fact that the house hasn't sold on the furniture and it's really your marketing plan? So there's another piece here too. What am I doing or not doing that's causing that property to sell or to not sell? So, be an expert at all times, guys, and don't be afraid to share your expertise with others. And then secondly, building that relationship allows you to discuss things with your client from a position of we're on the same team. And so by building that relationship of honesty, we're on the same team, we could soften that blow a little bit, right? And also, if it's an expensive enough house, let's look at how much money you could make in commissions, and maybe it's worthwhile for you to shoulder some of these expenses. Maybe you should hire a moving company to temporarily move some of their furniture out and stage it in. Maybe you should pay for that. Maybe you should get it done. And maybe you should explain to them why. So there's no perfect structure to fit this in. Each deal would be a little bit different depending on the people involved, but my experience and expertise would always trump, opinions, and I would want them to know why. That's the critical thing, right? There's a big difference between get rid of that furniture and let me explain what's going on with feedback. So Meatball, thanks for the question from Instagram. Hopefully that helps. All right, man, that's a good show. That's a good bunch of questions. So listen, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching. Those of you that are preparing for your test, good luck. For those of you that are in the business and just getting started, stay with us. And for those of you that are looking to grow your business, get sales strategies, advertising tips, and all of that, the best thing that you can do is to subscribe to this channel, keep watching the show, and we're going to keep answering your questions and helping you any way that we can. So if you have a question, as a reminder, you can always post it anywhere on social with the hashtag AskDonaldson or send us an email. ask@christalks.com. We can shorten it. AskDonaldson@christalks.com. And the comment of the day. So guys, everybody that's watched it, let's all comment. This is going to be, I think, published right after Thanksgiving. But comment what you are grateful for. I want to see what everybody's thankful for. I'm thankful for you guys for being here and giving us your time and attention. So you guys, post in the comments what you're thankful for. We'll be hanging out in there. And if you've got a question, send it to me on social, send it in the mailbag, and maybe you'll be featured on the next episode of the Ask Donaldson Show. Thank you guys for watching. And if you want even more, if you're preparing for your test, click here. If you're preparing for your career, click here, because we're covering you at all ends of the spectrum, guys. Until then, see you next time.